Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, Twitch chat. And welcome back to Let Us Play. I'm your host, Father Evan. It's good to be back with y'all today, and I hope everyone's having a good day. We're going to be diving back into some more Minecraft. New project. The church is still ongoing. We haven't finished it. We finished the exterior, but not the windows and the inside details. But for Memento Mori month, I want to move on to something attached to the church, but a little different. We're going to work on a graveyard. I hope no one bumps the G off of that sign. Before we get started, though, I do want to say thank you to Brayherd for claiming that firstendom on this, the second day of the month. It is yours for this day, but how long can you hold on to it? So did I bump my headphones? I think I might have. Oh, well. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to be... Uh-oh, Gale has redeemed a father joke. We're starting off strong today. Well, you know, as I was coming into work today, I saw a deer on the way to work, and I had to stop to myself and say, how did I know that deer was going to work and not school? I apologize for very little. I feel like I might apologize for that one, but probably not. So yeah, last time we completed the facade of the church here. I love it. Might want to add something there. It's looking a little flat. We'll see. Are there even deer in New York? Good question, actually. There are deer in DC. I learned that when I lived there, and that was weird. But anyways, I was thinking putting the graveyard here because we have this large flat area outside the church. I want to make it decently sized. Deer-sized rats, we do have those. Well, I'm going to turn down the music just a little bit more. There we go. White-tailed deer kill more humans than any other animal in the United States. I don't know if that's a fun fact. No, I think I'll keep this little ridge here. So I think I kind of like the idea of the graveyard being like up a level in the hill structure. So like, let's fill this in. Do deer kill humans or does driving kill humans? Ooh. Well, why are the deer driving? That doesn't sound safe. It isn't safe when the humans drive either. Yeah, it turns out we're not designed to, in fact, go in metal machines at 80 miles an hour, but, you know, here we are. You need to stop putting deer crossing signs on major highways. Yeah, how irresponsible of the deer. Hey, Mel. That was a person who called in Colorado. What? You know the famous church in Deflect, Czech Republic with the bone chapel in the basement? Did you know that it started when they dug up the grave to expand the church building and needed to do something with the bones? Ossuaries are weird and great. Oh, someone actually called in to complain about that. Okay, that's the part I was missing. Yeah, I could see someone doing that, especially from Colorado. So I don't have any particular design in mind with this graveyard right now. I'm thinking generally a few of my goals are, one, generally rectangular. Generally, it might have a curved end here and there. That'd be cool. Yeah, so the deer wanted to use the infrastructure. Yeah, no, I just missed the portion of that was an actual phone call someone made, and I'm disappointed. Not surprised, just disappointed. So anyway, gonna have a generally square shape. We'll see how that kind of works out in the end. Grave plots, obviously, maybe a small mausoleum for like the for the abbots. And then like a cross and altar in the middle. Of course the radio guys were egging her on. That's what radio people do. It's called #engagement. So let's grab some materials here. Poppies in there. So I went ahead and I did make some smooth stones because I have an idea for something. Make a couple of those buttons. Take some iron bars. And cobblestone. There it is, cobblestone. I'd like some mossy cobblestone, but dang. I think stone walls make good gravestones. Yeah, I've done that in the past. For the in-the-ground ones, you can use podzol, and that's my plan, to do, like, fresh graves. But you can also put some slabs on the ground, kind of make it look like a vault. So I kind of want to arbitrarily start there. So this is kind of the motif I'm thinking. So every few blocks, I might go as far as 4. 3 is looking a little stumpy. You could say the looks of this project are a grave concern. I'm afraid if I make my career all about puns, it's going to come back and haunt me. And then these stone buttons. Boom. Instant decoration. Sometimes you just can't take a gravestone for granted. It's true. on a slab. Is that going to be wide enough? You know, I'm just going to keep building this pattern, and then I'm going to worry about where I want to put the entrance. Okay, that's looking pretty good and wide. Let's check that out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dang, 8. Went to Enchanted Rock this weekend with all your college geology buddies, and puns came out. I approved this message. So I want to extend this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's where the end will be. So that still gives a decent amount of leeway between everything. Because, like, even this... It'll be a little tight up against that, but I think that should be fine. It was a Gnist time. The puns marbled throughout. But well played, good sir, well played. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one should be in the middle. Move just those for now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, great. Tea with honey. You know, I kind of like that because this makes it like, it's not exactly identically proportional. Because if I wanted it like a 2-to-1 ratio, I'd have to do a half because it's 9, but 9 and 4, and so essentially from the gate it's 4 and 4. I think that's pretty good. And that gives us a good amount of space to build stuff and mess around in here. Oh, and I don't have to knock down any of these trees, which I actually really dig. I will plant a couple trees throughout the graveyard as well, I think. We only need a little bit more dirt, too, to finish this off. So currently the center would be, if that's 4... So it's lined up on that. So center's that way. Okay, so essentially this is the center where these two holes are. I'm going to leave it like that for now. But that's roughly where like I want like the cross for this churchyard to go. I wish I had some mossy cobblestone, but I could not find a dungeon to save my life anywhere near me. Excuse me, sir! Sir! No. 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 Leaving dirt all up in this church. Didn't even wipe your feet when you came in, did you? I know you're there. Come fight me. Trap them in the corner with wire. Yeah, but I could also just punch him a bunch. But if he's there to convert, he didn't wipe his feet. He's also an Enderman. He doesn't have a soul. Okay, let's go get more iron. We're going to need plenty of that. He's inquiring about RCIA. He's too late. It's OCIA now. Really need to fill in these two things of water. I'm not growing grains there anymore. Because I have a much bigger thing. Find it funny that to make villager or cleric, you give them a brewing stand. I mean, they're not entirely wrong. I'll take the next. I do need some more cobblestone because I need to smelt this into smooth. But I'm also out of coal is a problem. What else do I need to grab? Right. Iron. Which I have stacks and stacks and stacks of. That should be enough for that. Furnace wood to get charcoal? Yeah, that's what I need to do. But I'm running low on that. I just need to grow it. So that's part of what we need to do when we get back. Not gonna be as active as usual. You're stressed out about 50 billion things around you. Oh no! Prayers for you, Britt. Lurkin is still good. Do a fair bit of lurking, like right now. Well, thank you for the lurk, as always. Lots of hurricane disaster relief stuff. Yeah, no, that's real. She's apparently busy. I'll give the Burkadoo. What's the difference? How much of a difference is there between the number of late vocations that you might find in diocesan clergy and other places? I think, and I could be wrong about this, I think religious life tends to attract more later vocations. Than diocesan priesthood. Let's accept those. Again, that's not... I don't have any sociological evidence in front of me. But I feel like that's what I've heard in the past. Let's also grab that shovel. But there are seminaries out there which specialize in later vocations. So I believe there's one in New England or Pennsylvania or somewhere northeast. It's all the same to me. Called Holy Apostles, I believe. And it specializes in, like, it's for diocesan guys. But it's there for bishops to say, hey, I've got this guy who's an older vocation. So a little bit of a different environment for them. Nope, you have not missed Rotata. While those are growing, I'm going to go... Let's go get some Podzol. Rotata! Well, today is the feast of the Holy Guardian Angels. Thank goodness I have one. I could tell some stories. But, you know, and I think that's really... There's this beautiful line in the gospel. And it's one of the writings we look to as, like, proof of their existence. And it says something to the effect of, like, the angels that guard you are always looking at the face of God. And what that implies to me is that if they're looking at you and they're looking at God, they're putting you between themselves and God, which means they are putting you on the path to God. And that's really comforting. Anyway, we should be able to find some here, because I think there's a bamboo forest in some of this. Okay, we found some bamboo. That's a good sign. Ow. My ankles. Okay, that pretty quickly became mangrove swamp. So I checked this out on a seed viewer. So I know that there's more bamboo forest around here. There's just this like one sliver in between, and there's more. There we go. Look at all that bamboo. Look at all those chickens. Blue Parrot, what are you doing? Can I get some seed for this parrot really quickly? It did not like that seed, I think. No, it does not like that seed, it looks like. Oh, hello, Podzol! This is what we came here to get. There we go. 54 should be more than enough for what we're doing. I wish I knew it would make you happy. Little parrot friend. The giant pine forests also generate puzzle. That's true, but I didn't have any of those near me. But I knew that bamboo forest was really close. This song's bop. It's a good one. I quite like Ron Galinas' work. And it's all copyright free. I believe the church should be back this way. Yeah, there's the door to darkness, so the church is over this way. And there's the church. It's nice having giant identifiable structures. Come on, it's basically nighttime. Let me go to bed early. There we go. Minecraft, let me embrace my inner old man. Dandelion can go over there. What else do I want to grab? I think I'll put the pods all away for now. Fun fact, one of the big written sources that passes down the concept of guardian angels to us is the Book of Enoch, which I just took a class on over the past few weeks. It's the first... It's not the It's not in the non-Ethiopian Bible, but that means it's... Doesn't mean it's bad. I don't understand the double negation there. It is in the Ethiopian Bible. And the only extant copy of the entire text we have is in Ethiopian. Although we do have segments in other languages, we don't have a full text. And yes, Jude does quote it. Enoch is a really interesting book. I have a copy somewhere. Hold on. There. No, that's a different interesting book. Help, I have too many books. Okay, I don't know where my Book of Enoch went. It's somewhere, but when I moved offices earlier this year, I rearranged a bunch of things and still don't know where I left things. It is out there, and it's like 100 years old. It's really cool. It's really nice printing. What's my favorite chapter of Jude? I think I'm going to go with the last one to be contrarian. It's actually going to bug me, though. And you'd think I'd be able to spot it because it's a nondescript gray leather cover. But yeah, Enoch goes into some interesting places because it spends a lot of its time defining kind of the hierarchy of angels and the names of angels and their role in the apocalypse. Like, there are just sections where it's like name after name after name of angel. We'll ask a Burkadoo. What do you say to your guardian angel? Thank you. Over and over again. Praying to our guardian angel is not something I got taught about. It always just you have a guardian angel who looks after you, recite the guardian angel prayer. Beyond that, you're clueless. I mean, that's all it has to be. Like, it's not... Having a devotion and relationship with your personal guardian angel is not a requirement in the sense of, like, knowing and loving Christ. So it's okay if you don't. Like, if you try and it's not for you, it's like, okay. But again, it's, just like the saints. The saints are living. They are not static images. You can have relationship with them if you desire, and they're there for you, and they're praying for you, and they're people, they're tangible, they're relatable. Okay, that's some random cobblestone. Diorite slabs would be helpful right now, but do we have any more calcite? Choose use my confirmation saying you have to put up with no end of my crazy. Valid. I mean, it's like, there's that one meme, and I do love it, of like a... Hold on, I had an idea. It's the angel statue, kind of like, it's like a picture of my guardian. It's like, yeah, guess things are easier to talk to because they're human. Yeah. I think it just, if that is a devotion you want to cultivate, it's probably, and it's not exactly one I have. I'm like, more people need to know about him. Well, Albertus Magnus is pretty cool. What I was gonna say is, you know, it really is just kind of like having that conversation, that relationship. That's so. What I'm thinking is we have these bone blocks. How cool would it be to do an altar of bone? But unfortunately, it won't really work, I think, because the bone... You need slabs to really make the altar height work, because it needs to be 1.5. Ah, dang it. That would have been such a cool idea. Don't think it's going to work, though. But I need more calcite, because that's... really what I have is... If I want this to fit in with the others, I think... Could you do bone with a white stone? It'd be tough because bone's kind of this off-white. So, like, any white stone I have would probably be polished diorite. And it's gonna look way too different. Plus, the altar really is... Well, actually, hold on. Maybe this will work. Sandstone! Smooth sandstone! That's what all of this is. Let's see, it's gonna... It's not too bad, but... I'm thinking I might have actually... messed up my height proportions, because, yeah... I just needed to be on the top, so I could basically build an altar kind of like this. Like, just have a square of bone and then put some cloth on the top of it. That could work. That away for now. Put all of that away. So we're gonna need to go get more calcite. I do think that the polished deep slate walls would be the best, because then it would kind of match the cross at the baldacchino. Can websites not do massive updates? Apparently not. Unfortunately, I seem to remember in the mines, there should be a geode that's pretty accessible. Yep, there it is. I don't need too much. Ow. Oh no, this is bad. This is bad. Nope. Nope. I'm not even messing around with that. Nope, right out of there. Yep. This is Java, I think. Yeah, it's Java. Hello? Oh, I went right past the staircase. I wasn't paying attention to my lanterns. Yeah, when I saw the two spiders and heard the skeleton notching its bow, I'm like, let's just not today. I got pretty good armor, but, you know. Now, I may not like the bone up against the white of the calcite is the problem, but I want to have a unified aesthetic. Let's float to a wall with Elytra full enchant equipment. Oh! Yeah, I need to go on an Elytra hunting quest at some point on this server. I think I know where... I looked on the portal, or the seed viewer, and there's a portal not too far. In the Nether? Oh, that's even worse. I don't think the bone's gonna work. Maybe I'll incorporate the bone into the mausoleum when we... Because I want to build like a mausoleum in one corner. Okay, so that's the center. So that's kind of where we'll want the cross to start. So I'll give us some semblance of size. Probably going to keep this pretty small on this area, to be honest. Yeah, there are times that I will just go into creative mode and be like, you know what? I lost this massively enchanted pickaxe. I am not working my way back to it. Proof of concept says I have gotten there. Maybe out to that height. Let's see how that looks. That is too stumpy. I think I need to make the cross beam itself too wide, I think, is part of the problem. And then it'll just... And then, so to make it proportional, need to be 3 tall. I think that's what I need to do. That's better. And of course, I'm 1 shy. I think I want to move that row up as well. So let's get some scaffolding to help us with this. Kyrison, you are in that server. He was also around when I fell off the land bridge in it. Ouch. That's... Ooh, he's got video proof. Okay, that's better, but I do need to make the top slightly taller, and then it should be fine. That is a rough loss. That's, oh. Days like that in Minecraft are just where like when you watch everything go into the lava and you know you can't get it back, you're just like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn it off for the night. I'm so glad my Minecraft shenanigans aren't recorded anywhere. The danger of me getting into Minecraft is the danger of me liking it. Yeah, it's like if you ever actually got it from the depths or Factorio. Yeah, I hit a major wall with from the depths at one point because like I was getting everything, and then they did this huge update that changed all the stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? Maybe not. Really cool concept, my dudes, but maybe not. Had to full equip 3 times that one server. Oof. At least, hopefully, when it's in a server, though, like if you're doing things communally, you know, it's not like you're starting from scratch. Almost full quit the second time I lost everything. Valid. Yeah, but Gale, I could totally see you getting lost in Factorio or mine. I mean, because you get lost in the sauce of Dwarf Fortress, so. I could see you making some sick redstone stuff. Dwarf Fortress is cozy. I dare say, and I mean this is a compliment, it's probably more cozy to you because of how well you know it. Had enough of community store. I almost drained all of our diamonds from those 2 depths. Oof. I mean, I think at that point you'd be like, yo, bud, don't worry about the payment. It's pixels and electrons. You're a hardcore Eve player. That's also a thing that you can get very into, especially financially. I just want to make a weapon studded with every metal. Is that so hard? Answer, moderately. Fair dinkum. I almost started Eve, then I started college. That would deter one. Oh no, Excel in space. Man, even their FPS was very Excel. Played that a decent amount with Gale in college, and I never understood what was going on. My other 2 screens are an Excel sheet and a list of audit selections. Yeah, but that's your job. You're an accountant. Most expensive ship that I inherited in-game would cost more money than my computer translate to real money. Yeah, that sounds like Eve. I remember hearing news stories on like video game news channels about some battle that like had Machiavellian schemes in it and backstabbings and this and that. And it costs like the total cost if you had just paid real world money for everything. It was supposed to be like nearly $1 million or something. It was a ridiculous amount. Okay, well that's cooking. Why don't we... What resources do I even have left at this point with the cobblestone? Not a lot. Not a lot. So... I have one stone, plain stone brick. Man, flight sims in VR are so much fun. It's a shame that Everspace 2 doesn't work in VR. I think Everspace 1 did. Don't think I ever got around to testing it, but man, Star Wars, whatever, not Rogue Squadron, but just Squadrons. That's what it's called, Squadrons. So much fun in VR. Kind of a fading path to the center area. Now, because of how this is all designed, the mausoleum cannot go immediately in the corner because then it'll fuse to the walls, and I don't like that. So, and we'll leave it one square because then we can kind of squeeze behind it. I'm also planning on building a new PC here. Your 1080 Ti is starting to show its age. Yeah. That's why I upgraded mine, and then everything blew up. I had a 1080 Ti as well. It was a good card. Lasted me a really long while. And it's still working. Like, it's still actually a fine card. But yeah. I recommend Fractal as cases. I have a Fractal, and it's very nice. Played some Star Citizen Early Dangerous VR QuakeCon. Nice. Take note of the fact that I said I inherited your Titan class spaceship. Oh yeah, no, for sure. Oh, hello, Step Zero. Thank you for the 300 bits. Hold on. Hey, yours is how long mine lasted too. So this is the updated Wheel of Pain. You have a full-size Be Quiet case. Yeah, your case is huge. No! No, I ate one of those yesterday! No! Step Zero, can I re-roll? Yes, okay, thank you. If you want to see what that tastes like, I'm leaving them in there, but if you want to see what that tastes like, there's a video from yesterday. Ah, Turkish pepper licorice. So much better. Turkisk pepper. Candied juniper berry is tasty. I believe it. And the pine cones aren't bad. They're just... The more you chew on it, the worse it gets, honestly. Because it goes from tasting like a pine cone to... Or like a pine tree to a pine forest, if that makes sense. Like, it becomes more earthy. It becomes more dirty. More bitter. Yeah. And what kind of pine cone? Young ones. That's all it says. Candied young pine cones. Collected in a wild. Your wheel needs more options. If you give me chocolate-covered mushrooms, I'm throwing them away because I don't do mushrooms. Almost ended up pine cones again. If it had done that, I would have said it was fake. Yeah. And so it's just this, which I already know what this tastes like because Gale was kind enough to give this to me. And we tried one at his house while I was visiting. they've since stuck together. Rotza hasn't spec happened. Older pine cones are too woody, I guess. And I like pine nuts, and those come from pine cones anyway. Turkish pepper. I'm going to try and do what Gale did. He crunched down on this. Because there's like a center. Like it's got a spicy outside and then a spicy center. It's weird. Okay, it's not too spicy today. Oh, but there's the anise flavor. Oh, this is hard licorice, yeah. This is black licorice. This is not... Oh! I do what girls did. Yes, Gale and I hit the spice center and both went, whoa! Oh! Woo! Yeah, when you chomp down on it, Gale, you weren't kidding. What was I doing? And it's not even black licorice, it's salty black licorice. So it's extra weird. You have no idea? Well, this was on Saturday. It was over the weekend. Oh, where are we building? Spicy salmiakki. Yeah. It gets better. And I see your father joke, Britt. I promise. I request a good father joke. Good luck. There's also a hot and sour variety. That's also on the wheel. I wasn't saying because I thought you said I wanted a good one, lol. No, good luck, good luck. No, I was just saying as I was reaching over, I just wanted to make sure you knew. This may surprise you. I once actually had a job working as a personal trainer, but it was really too hard and the weights were too heavy for me, so eventually I had to put in my 2-week notice. For a father joke, that wasn't awful. Yay, a ringing endorsement. So yeah, what do I want to use as headstone material, I guess? Because I've seen different designs, and I've done different designs myself. Hey, Calmage. I actually had 18 pack and bench over 2 tons. Make Space Marines look like school children. I wish I could come to your wedding so I could meet you IRL, because I know you're former military, and so like you have there's a certain expectation with that around physical fitness, but given your avatar, your VTuber model, I want to know just how weird the difference is. Yeah, there's no cooldown on the wheel. You just have to keep spending money. That's the cooldown. Make headstones out of heads? I don't have heads. It's hard. I don't have a six-pack. I keep a full keg. Licorice has such a interesting aftertaste. And it's amazing how much it can vary from different brands. Okay, I want to clear out all this grass. We might hit this with bone meal at some point to sprout new grass, but this will just help with thinking and as we build. I'm in shape. Sticks are shapes. I'm really more of an oblate spheroid. You know, if these animals don't get out of this graveyard, they may become a memento mori themselves. Points hole. Points hole. Points hole! All those points in the hole. They are gone, no more. And more points! We are getting triple points in the points hole at this point. So many points, and yet the hole cannot be filled. By 5 points, you never meant anything. Get to the points hole, you points. Why did Twitch just show me a creepypasta Minecraft face and say that it was a reward? Because Twitch is a mistake. It's like the black hole for just points. The black hole. So Twitch is doing this thing right now, and I did not opt into this. I did not turn this on. It just happened automatically because Twitch is Twitch. Basically, if you watch a Minecraft stream for 10 minutes, you get a mask representing the Watcher, which is boss mob that shows up in certain areas. That's it. Now you can spook your friends by pretending to be it, I guess. Bob and Doug McKenzie running through your head. Okay. That's a reference that's going over my head. Think of it like the Canadian version of Hans and Franz from SNL. Gotta hop off. Okay, take care, Britt. Thanks for stopping by. Canadian stereotype doing goofy stuff. Ah, so a Canadian. Is Bree here? Now, I don't want to put pods all in all the graves. I think it looks better as to imply a more freshly dug grave. There's a whole skit about metric to imperial, but they were doing the rule of thumb for Celsius to Fahrenheit on kilograms. Silly Canadians. You've mementoed your last Morai. Well, I should hope so. I'm only going to have the one. Good to see you, Blake. Hope you're doing well. Doubling it at 30. That's true. I actually use that a lot when people are talking about it. It's a very handy rule. So I make a good amount of those because you can use these. Make some slabs. We'll make a few more stairs. Make a few more of these. They also have 12 days of Christmas, which is hilarious, but probably irreverent. I mean, c'est la vie. If you die before you die, you will not die when you die. 20 go to 10. On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a beer? I don't see what the problem is. That sounds exactly what I would want my true love to give me on Christmas. Like, especially a good winter ale. I don't love that. See if we knock those out. You don't even drink beer. I drink non-alcoholic beer. It's still beer. Just don't tell the other kids that it's non-alcoholic. I didn't say it's what I have. I said it's what I'd want if I had it. I can recognize the difference between my reality and what would be an ideal situation in a different pattern of life. These are not mutually exclusive concepts. They all give you tummy aches. Oh, that's no good. Can't have that. I like doing this little vault design. I think it's really cool. Really simple. Everything gives you a tummy ache. Dairy doesn't? Okay, well. That's a nice looking grave. What a nice grave. Can I buy that grave? Can you put me in that grave? I don't know why I'm slipping into a Gilbert Gottfried there, but, you know. One, two. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Kind of have an empty plot here. So I'm kind of thinking one side of the cemetery is like the monastic or the brother canons, one side is the priest canons, beneficiaries, and then abbots. But I like leaving the space open because it kind of tells a bit of a story of like who's bought what and when in past. Root beer is actually beer? Counts now. I say it does. I'm a call with Sarah, Blake, and Dan. I mentioned that you were making tombstones, but no other information. Sarah was so confused. Well, that's fair. Hi, Sewa. Hi, Blake. None of the Reinheitsgebot. Yeah, is ingredients other than water, hops, and barley. Well, I'm gonna trust the Reinheitsgebot. That sounds very official, very German. So I think we'll also use these stone bricks for the Abbot Colosseum Mausoleum. Am I dead? Probably not yet. You're still here. You're still in chat. Do you remember dying? Tell us, what was death like? Do you remember it so much it's like a memory? I had more smooth stone, but I don't. But I have a thought. I have... Oh, that's just iron. I'll use that up almost instantly if I try to do this that way. Although, there's some smooth stone. That'll be a few more buttons. Possibly. Oh, Mel, what did you do to Blake? I die, I live, die again. You wouldn't convert Sotea's Vault? It doesn't work that way, Mel. Nope, didn't want Podzol there. Goodbye, Podzol. Dying for the Emperor, I am an instrument of his will. Well, there you go. So that's happening, chat. Blake has succumbed to the influence of the Imperium of Man and their propaganda. Turn between 40k and Sabaton? Yes. Yeah, the Imperium of Man would never do anything like propaganda, right? For the greater good. Wait. This is heretical, brother. You must speak with your chapter chaplain immediately. I am the chapter chaplain. Yeah, crazy that I don't believe in the God Emperor of mankind. I believe in this other God who is Emperor of all of the universe and all races and all time. Weird. Meep. Meep is here. This chapter is stained with heretics. Well, Exterminatus. Can't you roleplay with us? No. I don't do yes and today. I'm doing yes no. No and. Besides, I play 40k. In fact, I play Imperial Guard. More Rotda. Feast the Guardian Angels. Thank goodness we have them. Because I certainly have needed mine plenty of times. And they do a great job of putting us between themselves and God so that we may see his light and his love. Manperer of mankind, his mighty manliness. Your guardian angel must be good at improv because you're real dumb. No, you're not dumb. You're just foolish sometimes. We all are. If I could do a character in 40k TTRPG, be a tech priest heretic obsessed with Tau technology, that would be pretty cool. How many guardian angels? It's usually one, but you know, I think God knows which children need more help. Hear me out. Railguns. I mean, I also do have a smattering of Tau meant for like kill team or something. I have a one-track mind that skips tracks off, and my guardian angel has to be able to pivot on a dime. Fair. Okay, so I'm thinking... Yeah, I like that. Because I want this to evoke an arch, even if it's not properly an arch. No. Seven angels per person. That's a lot. I mean, I have heard stories of certain mystics talking about their guardian angel or angels and like learning their name. But my guardian angel is already working hard. It doesn't need me bothering it, being like, "What's your name?" Could I put half brick on top of the arch? Potentially. Let's see how that looks. Something like that. next to more than on top. Like, if I do it there, it'll float. When constructing a rosary, the medallion after the 3 beads at the start, what are the requirements for it? Pretty loose, honestly, because, like, you can get those I mean, the traditional style, no, on the uprights. Oh, like here? Or do you mean here? Like a top of a slab there? Problem is, it won't connect properly. I could put in a stair. But then it doesn't all fully connect. Like, I could do that. Yeah, you can't rotate slabs like that. That's good. I don't like it as much, to be honest. I prefer the iron bars where they were. Found out a Frank was asking about the rosary and speculating on the confirmation saint. That's cool. Well, prayers for them and guidance in their journey. But yeah, the medallion, to go back to that, you can get it basically like the traditional way is one side is an image of Mary and the other side is an image of Christ are the most common. But it's certainly not excluded to that. Check out the rosary beads at the Met. They're like it's a walnut that's been like hollowed out and carved. It's got some amazing detail. They're beautiful. So, like, you know, it can go into that level of detail and depth. Whereas you can also have a relic in there, honestly. That is an option. You can have an image of a saint that has nothing to actively do with the rosary other than they themselves having had a devotion. It can be, if you're doing a knot, it will just be a knot. Gonna make some more smooth stone because we're gonna need more bricks to build up the mausoleum portion. Thought I brought more, but let's use it all. Can't you make smooth stone with the stone cutting table? I don't think so. No, it just shapes. Meeting time. All right, you take care. Well, probably gonna be hopping off about half an hour, but if you're back. Other hand, we have ones like the one I printed where it's slightly different size and different beads. Yep. All sorts of options. Oh, good. Need to deliver a radioactive thing. Enjoy candy. Okay, well, I'll Enjoy is a strong word. Thank you for the 300 bits. Oh, that almost landed on the Tajin mango rings. Okay. I have not had this one yet. These are from the same people that made the Tajin gummy bears. I think they have a theme. That smell! That was a powerful smell when I opened that. Like, just powerful artificial mango smell. Just, oh, like a bad mango lassi has just filled the office now. I'm scared. I thought these would be fine because the Tajin gummy bears are interesting but weird. Now, Nostrovia. Eat the ring. The ring. I am eating it. It is a ring of all time. It's like that's not good. I would not recommend buying those. Like it's more like what someone who's never had mango might think mango would taste like. Okay, so I need to think this through, because I don't want to make this too small and then have to expand. So how big on the inside do we want this to be? Because I definitely want a wall not connected to the outside, because we need to be able to build niches on the walls for the tombs. And then we need to... I think it would be cool to have like one in the middle or like two in the middle. So, wall there, so we could have 2, space 2. Because I want to put in like a window there. And the windows we're going to put in, they're going to be like this essentially. Like, it's not going to be like a super bright or super inviting space. It's a mausoleum after all. So, but then that will enable us, we could build, put someone there, put someone there. Might even do 3 high. So, and then this, that would be the front wall. So if I want to put like an upright tomb section, so if something kind of like that. Yeah, I like the idea of it being 2 there. Because then we could make this the center line. So we could have like 2 coffins there, 3 on each set of the walls. Not necessarily full. My standard for mausoleums is Halicarnassus. That is good taste. Good to see you, Mithril. So after that, we'll need space for 2. Or do I want... Because if I'm putting them on the wall here... we actually want them over 1. Because then, yeah, that would leave 2 spaces between them and the wall. That's better, I think. Okay, so 2 spaces, 1 for the wall, and then the actual wall. This does put this very close to these graves, but that's just the way it's going to be. So what if I... Well, what's this size right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What if we made it long and skinny instead? Like, what if we kept the same shape? But we put the entrance here. So these guys would be rotated. So we could basically have like 2 guys there. Or we can just have like 1 very large special tomb in the middle. It's gonna feel very cramped though, because then like you're only gonna have 1 space to move around. But is that a bad thing? Like, it's a mausoleum. It's not something you spend a ton of time in, unless you're the person in there. Yeah, I could do that. I could build, like, have this be right here. And what the brick is going to change. Like, that's just a placeholder. I'm thinking maybe not marble, but quartz would be good for the mausoleums. And then, like, building... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we could do 3 along. We're gonna be... That, weirdly enough, actually gives us 1 extra space. So I'm actually gonna move this out by 1. So I'll make it 10, so that would make it... Wait. How many did I say it was in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, actually, I'm going to leave it, because that leaves 2 space, 2 space, 1, 2 space. Oh, I can shorten it. That's what I'm doing wrong. It's 1, 2, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2. Okay, that's what we need. No! Nope, nope, nope. I am not dealing with you pillagers today. I am not in the mood. I want to build? So I want to use a little bit of those brick. Yeah, that's right. Mosey away. Go away from the graveyard where I'm working. Excuse me, my Minecraft noobness, but can you actually get killed? Yes. Yeah, see the hearts on the bottom above my toolbar? Yeah, if those reach 0, womp womp. You respawn at your last bed, which fortunately is right there, so it's very close, but you lose a bunch of experience. You have to go pick everything up again, and it's just, it's just the whole thing. Actually, you know, I was looking for a place to use the bone. I live under a rock, apparently. No, it's all good. There's lots of games and things out there in the world. You don't have to know it all. Actually, I don't want that there, because I want that there. You could theoretically... I might actually even do this after we're done constructing, is build this iron gate here. You kids play nice over the mausoleum of Halicarnassus. Okay, let's make buttons with those, because why not? Because we're going to need more buttons. I hate that it's a whole block to make a single button. Because other things, it's like, you know, it'll make 2 at a time or something. But I do like this little detail that it gives. It's this little bump. Gonna extend this slightly so it's not just like falling right off. Because that fence would not hold up over time. Unfortunately, I can't stay for long. Gotta go sleep early. Very important official exam tomorrow morning. Oh, good luck on the exam. Hope it goes well. If it's a work thing, it sounds less than exciting, but... As of today, you are your entire office's IT department. That sounds terrible, actually. I'm sorry. So I think I want to use steps to build up a little roof, but I think I'm going to use that, the acacia wood, because I think it'll add a bit of a pop of color and also tie it into the whole aesthetic, but I like these little bone mausoleums. These are cool. Just don't type Google into Google without asking the internet's permission. Oh no! And then maybe this one I'll do lapis lazuli in the middle. Damn, one off. That would have been so clutch. I will build a small altar in there. I think that would be fitting. Ooh, more smooth stone. That's actually really helpful. Do I have any more acacia stairs anywhere? Not for right now, but that's okay. We'll start with that. We're not going to finish this whole graveyard in a single day, because there's still some detailing work and things. See you guys next time. All right, you take care. Good luck on the test. one shy. Lapis Lazuli produced the pigment known as ultramarine. Why? Because the people who called it that thought they were importing lapis lazuli from across the Mediterranean Sea, and ultramar means across the sea. Dang space smurfs. Now, I may not build this up all the way to the top because that may be too tall. It may look a little ridiculous, so I might cap it off on a half slope. Or half slab. Like, yeah, actually even here, I think just going up by one. That'll be perfect. Should grab scaffolding so I can actually get up there. Well, I wasn't planning on finishing the mausoleum today, but apparently I am. And this actually works out well, because this will prevent mobs from spawning on top of here. Okay. I might do a little more work on the outside in some way next time, just to, like, maybe give it a little more depth and character. I want to see if I have enough lapis lazuli at the base so I can finish off that one block. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got enough. There we go. Got some tombs. When you go into spectator mode, does that make you feel more like chat? Pog, lol pog. A little bit. I like how that little mausoleum turned out. Again, I think there can be some more detailing work done to, like, differentiate certain parts of it, because it's all just the brick right now. But yeah, oh sorry, I forgot. Kappa, pog, Kappa. But I do like it, and I like the gate on it. I think that's really neat, honestly. Like, it feels very much like a real mausoleum. The pig, however, will need to go at some point. We'll figure that out later. But I like this little graveyard. It's turned out quite nicely. I think we could maybe... It does still need, like, all the button work on these, because I like how that looks. But that's a pretty small detail that we can work on next time, and that's mostly just, like, getting the right bricks. But I think that's where we're going to call it for the day. Look at that. It's so pretty. So thank you so much for tuning in to Let Us Play. I've been your host, Father Evan. It's been good to be with y'all today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for liking, following, subscribing, for bits. Yep, it's wrap-up time for me, Tony. You showed up at the perfect time. But thank you to everyone who's joined the Discord, subscribed over at YouTube. That's the name of the website. I can get there, I promise. And yeah, not this week, but next week I'll be part of a Christian raid train. So I'll be doing an extra stream Friday night. Minecraft, more Minecraft. We love the Minecraft. Always more Minecraft. So keep an eye out for that. And then well, I feel like I had something else to announce. Oh yeah, just like when we get to 300 followers, gonna do a bonus stream of Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, as well as eating the terrible pickle candy. So that'll be fun. And then on the 18th, I'm pretty sure it's the 18th or the 19th, 18th. That Friday I'll be on Game of Favorites over on Pete Tony's channel, so that'll be fun. But that is where we're going to call it for today. So thank you again for tuning in. And why don't we go ahead and see who is live to raid into. Gonna raid into Will Pog. He's also part of the raid train. So the raid call is gonna be Will Pog for food, because I think that using the second part of his name as a verb is funny. So Will Pog for food is the raid call. So gonna send you on over there. So give him a follow. He's a fun, just chatting guy. He's cool. He's chill. So, all right. Take care, y'all. Have a great day, and God bless.